Hello and welcome back to Scale Me Down. We're here at the Great Orme with the Powerscale Soaring Association for a fly-in to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the Dambusters raid. Remember to like and subscribe to support the channel. PSS stands for Powerscale Soaring, and the models of full-sized jet, rocket or piston-powered aircraft, but built as a glider. This branch of the hobby is great fun and can be very accessible, as your aircraft doesn't need to be very complex or cost the earth to build. The designs are often simple two-channel affairs, and often their proportions are tweaked a little bit to make them fly better as a glider. When the conditions are right, they perform much like their powered counterparts, albeit silently. On this occasion, the winds were a bit light, so only the very lightest and those models with the lowest drag flew. It was a real pleasure to witness these graceful machines drift silently across the slope, powered solely by the wind. One that caught our eye was this Airbus A380 by Andy Johnson.
It's my Windrider A380. It's all polystyrene in construction. It's 2 metre span, very lightweight. We'll fly in light winds up to very strong winds if need be. Computer Arbor radio gear fitted to it. Film wrap. All the motors are on magnets, so when you land it pops them off rather than breaks them off. So you just pop them back on again afterwards. I've put a little bit of sellotape on as well just to stop them blowing off in the air. But it flies really nice.
This was the organiser, Phil Cook's Jet Provost.
We've run a number of mass build events over the last 10 years. This was the first of those actually, so this was an Andy Blackburn plan. It's available through Sarek and still is today as a short kit. And we built these back in 2014. They were a super little kit, 2-channel design, ailerons and elevator, weigh about £2. And we flew around 18 of those at the event, and there's still many of them still flying today. So they've had 10 years of service. It's probably my most flown PSS model out of all my models, and it just goes everywhere with me. It's a super lovely little design. It flies in light winds from about 10 miles an hour. You can sort of just about thermal around, but equally it'll fly in a 60 mile an hour gale as well. So it's a fun machine, fully aerobatic, very simple, all built up.
Yeah, ailerons and elevator.
Ailerons and elevator, all balsa. Canopy through vortex, and yeah, that's your lot. Yeah,
lovely. So if people want to get involved with the PSSA, Phil, how would they find you?
Yeah, best way is to talk to us through either our website. You can email through there, which is www.pssaonline.co.uk, or we have a Facebook page and a group Facebook area as well. The guys and girls are all very friendly. Everyone are here to help. So yeah, just get in touch through the website ideally, and we can introduce you. We run events all over the UK, about 7 events each year. The majority of them are based around North Wales because the conditions are typically best here for this type of glider. But we are down at the Bulk in South Wales, we're down at the White Horse in Shropshire, and so we are venturing further south, but we need to make sure that we can accommodate this many people in a car park and a slope that's suitable for the event. Yeah.
Thanks, Phil. Next, let's meet Peter Garston and his English Electric Canberra Bomber.
Is a Canberra that was designed by Andy Blackburn from the Sarek plan, and it's in the colours of the research model of the Royal Aircraft Establishment. The later ones were obviously in grey and black. This is in brighter colours, so it shows up better, and it's covered in solar film with a real model pilot in the cockpit. And it flies lovely in light to 20-25 mile an hour winds, I suppose. I've flown it today in 8 and it flies lovely. It's all built up with ribs, but the wings are sheeted in balsa. The fuselage is planked over formers, and it's got rudder, some rudder mixed in with aileron. Because when I first launched it, I had no mix and was doing some funny turning left and turning right at the same time. So you got to mix some rudder in. But yeah, flies lovely.
Thanks, Peter. This really is one of the best soaring sites in the UK, and it's a privilege to meet and fly here. Despite the light winds, the predictable lift meant we were in for a real treat. Of the giant Lancasters at the event, this one by Chris Collis was the most lightly loaded. That is to say, it had the lightest weight compared to its wing area. And when it was launched, everyone stopped to watch. This was Chris's perspective on the model.
It took me, at the time when I was working then, and it took me 4 months to build, night times. On the dining room table. Yeah. I didn't have a workshop in those days. Right. I altered it. It was from a Chris Coles plan 35 years ago. It's all foam. It's on a box section. The fuselage was built on a box section. Then it was white foam, cut round formers, and then a big sheet over the top. It's 102 span, and it weighs 7 pounds. I enlarged the wingspan on it, enlarged the cord on it, put flaps on, which weren't, I don't think it was on the plan. I changed the section to Clark Y. It's painted with the Humbrol enamel, little tins, took 4 tins of each, and then varnished over the top. And that was it. Basically, it's been in quite a few competitions, well, not competitions so much, just fly-ins. Yeah. And she's my old faithful. She'll fly in anything from, 8 mile an hour winds upwards. She's flown over 35 years, and the amount of airtime she's had over that time is phenomenal.
I'm sure you'll agree that she looked very statesmanlike, patrolling up and down the slopes. She was soon joined by a fighter escort with this lovely P-51B Razorback Mustang. This flight held special significance as this year, 2023, commemorates 80 years since the Dam Busters raid, where on the night of the 16th and 17th of May 1943, the RAF 617 Squadron carried out bombing raids on dams serving the Ruhr Valley using the famous bouncing bomb. Soon I just couldn't resist, and I just had to join in with my Battle of Britain Spitfire. It hadn't flown in several years, and it was nice to get some air under its wings. It's derived from the Balsacraft Mark 9 kit from the 1990s, with the fuselage modified to better represent the early marks of Spitfire. It's of all balsa construction, and it's finished in 25 gram per square metre glass cloth and G4 resin. She's painted with Fighter Aces paints in the colours of Jeff Wellham DFC, who was a Battle of Britain fighter ace, and he wrote a fabulous book of his experiences, First Light. Now I didn't quite catch who was flying this one. No, this is a real one, but you had to look carefully as there were a few 3D printed radio control gulls about. And also sporting a 3D printed model, albeit non-PSS, was Tim Mackey.
This is the Flightboard Plus 600. It's fully 3D printed, except in this case I've modified it slightly and put a Corex fin on just to lighten the weight. This is what I call the hybrid version. It's not my original design, done by a clever guy somewhere over in Austria, I think. And the files are available for download for a nominal 8 or 10 euros, I think. It prints in 16 individual pieces on your printer. I've used the lightweight PLA for everything that you see that's black, and then I've used regular PLA for the elevons, the wingtips and the canopy, and to keep the ballast required to balance it down, I put the lightweight fin on at the back, so it's your finest for sailboard. The weight of this came in at 230 grams, all up ready to fly, and the standard one, which is all full PLA, that comes in at just over 300. So we've saved almost a third of the weight with these modifications. I've also lengthened the nose slightly from the original, so again reducing the need for ballast. And it runs at the moment a single cell 400 milliamp single cell LiPo with a tiny little voltage booster, and that steps up the nominal single cell voltage to 5 volts to run your 2 servos. And the model really does fly far better than you'd expect it to.
Thanks Tim, and thanks to Phil Cook and all the PSSA members who made us feel most welcome. And before we close, we have a sneak preview of something very exciting coming very soon from Martin Gay.
About the small Lancaster here that's been developed for RCM&E, the Radio Control Model Electronics magazine. It's a 30-second scale or 970mm span model designed to be built from bits of balsa out of your scrap box. So it's a solid sheeted wing, laminated up from 2 pieces. It's a solid tailplane, and then it is a planked fuselage. It's got aileron servos in the nacelles, servo at the back for the elevator, and being the 80th anniversary of the Dam Busters, it's got the upkeep bomb as well. It's on magnets just in case it gets caught on landing. Can be flown electric. The plan that's coming out in October's magazine, I believe, will show electric motors on the inboards. Speed controllers will be mounted on the inside edges of the nacelles, keep them in the slipstream, and then you just need to cut a hatch in there for a small 3-cell LiPo.